Hey guys, today is the day. In my last video, I promised you that I will walk you through my Figma Master File and the way that we are using it here at Human Deluxe, the design studio that I run, how we use it as a replacement for a design system or design component system or a design token system, and how it's actually different from these tools and how you can create your own Figma Master File and use it. Of course, we are using this file for all the client projects we have for every new company, every new brand that we are working with. And today I will walk you through the master file of our brand of Human Deluxe. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Here it is. Welcome to the Human Deluxe master file. So as you can see on the file icon already, this file of course is a library. So I have published this to my team as a library. This is the first thing and probably the one that you would expect the most. I will go through the pages in just a minute. Before I do that, I just want to talk a little bit about how to name the file and of course what is happening here on the right side. So the name for the file should always be a very short one. Usually what I do is I simply call it something like brand and then master. So in this case, Human Deluxe Master, so that it's very easy to find throughout all the brands that I am using in my Figma or that I have in my Figma projects. Of course, I do have all the styles here on the right side. So you can see all the styles that we are using from this master file. Of course, text styles. So we do have wireframe styles here defined for the Human Deluxe brand. I will go through these in just a minute. Of course, color styles. We have grouped them by primary colors, text colors, wireframe colors. Again, I will show you in a minute. And here you can also see the main reason why we're not using variables so much, or why I personally prefer styles over variables, because variables as of 2024 are not really great with handling gradients or handling images, image fills. And here, for example, I do have a stand-in for a person in my wireframes. Again, I will show you this in just a minute. And this is something that is very, very hard to do with variables at this point. And here I can just use an image fill as a style. And this is just great, just what I need. So all the styles are here defined, of course, and whenever I create a new file, whenever I create a new design file, and I include the Human Deluxe Master as a library, I have all these styles available and I can just use them within this file. So this is great. This is exactly what I want. Now you can see we are here on the overview page. The first page of every design document that I will create is always called overview. The purpose of the overview page is to have an overview, a summary of what this file is about for someone who's coming to the file for the very first time. So in this case, it's very, very simple. All we have is the thumbnail here, and the thumbnail already contains all the elements that you can expect, or most of the elements that you can expect in this master file. Of course, if the project is more complex, then you would have more screenshots, or you would have case study shots, or you would have an overview, something like a table of contents, if you will, of what you can expect in this file. In this case, it's simply the thumbnail here that I am using in the overview. So then, of course, I do have the pages structured, and what I do is I structure them by asset or by asset type that I want to have per page. As I mentioned in the intro, this Figma Master File is not a perfect design system, and it's also not a token system. It's not a component system either. Think of it more as a Swiss Army knife for Figma. So this one contains all the elements that you would typically use, that you would typically need for your design work when working with a brand. And of course, these needs can be completely different depending on the brand that you are working with. So in this case, I will walk you through the Figma master file for Human Deluxe for our design studio and of course for our design studio needs. So the Figma master file in this case should cover most of the use cases that we encounter in our day-to-day design work. Not all of them, of course. And they can be used as a library, which means I can include it in my project files, but I can also use it as a standalone file. I can come back here and just pick out components that I would need and then go back to my actual project file. So let's go straight through the pages one by one. Of course, the first one, if we're talking about a brand, we have the logo page. In the logo page, we do have all the different versions of our logo. So we do have the full logo here in a color version, in a dark blackish version, and of course in a plain white and black version, ready to export for use in print materials, but also ready to include in our design projects. Of course, I would also have components, or I would have designs here which are not components. In this case, the avatar, which is kind of part of the logo page here. This one I created once for social media, for profile pages, and it's ready for export, waiting here. But of course, it's not a component. I don't want this to clutter up my component panel when I'm using the Human Deluxe master file as a library in other design files. So this one's here, ready to export, but it's not part of the component set. Colors, I already showed you the styles that we have defined. In addition to the styles, I do have all the colors here written out in simple hex code format, in a simple overview. This really helps me when I want to share these colors with someone outside of Figma. So imagine I would need this to take a screenshot or to just copy as a PNG and share it with someone who's working with our brand who needs the color values. But in this case, or in this format, I can also just copy the whole thing as text and paste it into Slack and get like a nice overview, get the color values hinted already with these typical Slack or tooltip thingies, which is kind of cool. In our case, we have 3 different color styles or 3 different color palettes defined. One would be the primary Human Deluxe rainbow. So we have a very colorful approach to our design studio because that is what we like. That is what defines us. And we try to have a very unique rainbow that is unique to our brand and that contains a lot of colors that we can actually use also in our everyday design work. So if we, for example, need a really nice yellow and we decide, we don't want to come up with a new yellow, we can use this as a reference and take this color as a starting point and then diverge from there. This really helps us develop style or to be consistent in our style, also when it comes to client projects. Of course, if the project needs it, we will develop a different color or adjust to a different color. And we do have a dark and a bright color defined. This is the text color that we use in most of our own designs, like in our print designs, website, etc., social media posts. We are actually not using a full black, so not a 000 black, but a color that I call blackish because it's a very, very dark blue. And it's a little bit nicer, especially when used in combination with these very bright, very saturated rainbow colors. It just works. Then on the other hand, we do have the wireframe colors. So the wireframe colors, I will show you in a minute. I'm anticipating the whole wireframe thing here, or announcing the wireframe thing quite a bit. This is just a simple grayscale that we are using in the wireframes and that help us to stay consistent throughout wireframes. The way that I present these colors, well, yeah, we use it sometimes in client projects, presenting colors in that same way, but we also have different ways that I have included here as well. So we do have the color card that our designers are using when showing interface colors. This helps to give reference to like a base color and then the different scales that derive from the base color. But sometimes we also use the color strip where we do have the primary color in the middle and then the brighter and darker versions adjacent to it. This is kind of cool to showcase gradients as well. So if you are using a primary gradient instead of a primary color, you can have both color values in here and bring that to use. To be honest, the way that you present a color is really up to you and actually up to the project. So what the project needs, how many colors you want to show, and also if it's a print project or if it's an interface design project. So really like what is the scale and how many colors, how many primary brand colors, how many functional colors like notification colors, error colors, success colors, etc. do you need? There is, at least for us, no perfect way, no one size fits all approach that helps us, show colors in the same consistent way every single time. So we have all these in here. So then we do have a page called icons, and this one is very, very minimalist actually. It doesn't contain so much icons or so much as a standard icon set. We do not have any icons on our website at the moment, and we do not have like a one go-to icon set for client projects. Sometimes we would just hand create all new icons, and sometimes we would pick out the icon set that fits the client, that fits the design or project needs the best. So what we have here on this page is actually all the icons that we use regularly. And in this case, it's basically two things. Of course, the social media icons. So we do have like perfect vectors of Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Discord, and of course X. So we can come back here, just pick out these icons or use them as components from our library and be super fast when creating social media icons, social media link galleries or link buttons. And of course, for app designs, we do have the Google Play badge and the App Store badge. For us, it's really important to have like the perfect and official and latest vector file here. You can find a lot of variants of these badges online. You can find PNGs on Google or on the official App Store marketing materials page. But it's a bit tricky to figure those out or to find the actual right version. So this does save us time having this here as a library. And of course, we do have it in both variants, in bright and dark. So we can use it whatever the design requires. So this one is a bit tricky here. The original idea of the website section of the Human Deluxe Master File was to have like all the components from our website ready to use, so that it would be easy for us to create new subpages, to create new website ideas. Imagine we offer a new service or we offer a new product or we have a new case study. So we could just go here, pick out the components we need to build a design for that and just see how it looks and how it feels like. At the moment, we are redesigning our website, which means these components here will be obsolete. Most of them are removed already. And the last one, the navigation, will also be obsolete. So if you want to see what the new website looks like, just head to humandeluxe.com and check it out and see how it's different. In the future, we will add the components back here and have it all ready to be used for new website designs. We do have a bit more here in the wireframe section though, and this is one that is actually quite well structured. So when we create new client wireframes, we use an atomic approach. So we do have atoms, components. We kind of skip the molecule step here because it doesn't make too much sense for wireframing. And then, of course, special need components, sections, yes, website sections, and people elements. You can see my lovely face here quite a lot. In client designs, we would then usually replace this with client photos or with photos of generated people. But for now, this really helps me be faster in the design. And of course, you would see these different versions here that we have for creating these kind of wireframes. But let's go through them one by one here. So we do have the typography part. The typography I have showed you already. We do have them as text styles. And to just make sure that we do have the overview, we also have it here in the typography section. So this one has no components or anything. So it's just a reference, just a visual thing for us to see what we have in place and what we can use for our wireframes. Of course, we do have all the important components here, all the important atoms, like call to actions or call to actions with contact or app store buttons, various button sizes, my lovely face again in various avatar sizes, form elements, and so on. So this is the closest that you will get to a classic design component system. And we do not have every single component or all the components in here, but just the ones that we typically need for a low fidelity wireframe or mid fidelity wireframe. And then of course we would extend this as we need and as we go. We do have the most typical content components, the most typical boxes and videos and media elements here. So we have this thing we call media box, where we do have image plus text in different sizes and different orientations. But we also do have text blocks with and without a box around it to simply pick and use. Again, these here, in this case, they are in components. So we would just pick them and use them in the design. But some of them we do have as component available. This decision is really up to how you want to create your wireframes. What do you think the best process for this is? Same here with the people section. So we do have people elements in different orientations, different sizes. So I have a small avatar version, which you would use for a testimonial or something like an author box, and bigger ones, which you would use for a team overview or a speaker note or something like this. The component that we use most of the time for creating wireframes is the sections component. So here we do have the most typical sections that we would use or that our clients would expect ready to just pick and mix things like header sections, call to action sections, but also these things I call type grid. So where we do have like different nice big headlines put in a nice grid that can be rearranged, of course, and that can be adjusted to the project need. And of course, something like a very, very simple navigation, very simple footer, something that would be adjusted on the project as we go. Of course, all of these things do exist not only in a desktop variant, but also in a mobile variant. So we have these here nice and linearized for mobile, sharing the same name, but a different component so that we have no actual confusion when creating these or when mixing and matching these. To be honest, this is not the ideal way of doing it, and we haven't fully figured out yet how the ideal transition between mobile and desktop would be. There are some plugins that help you with creating responsive pages. Of course, variables, of course, auto layout do support responsive layouts to a certain extent. However, if you want to do it right and if you want to make sure that you don't mess up anything, there is a lot of work required with these different methods. And for a wireframing approach, we want to be fast. So instead of doing it in a sophisticated way, we just double the components. We have a desktop version and a fixed width. We do have a mobile version and a fixed width. And for presenting concepts and presenting website ideas to a client, this is good enough. All right, you might have realized that I have skipped a page here, the devices page. So a while ago, we have decided that we didn't want to use Apple or Google devices in our design presentations, mostly because they are dated super fast. So when you have a standard iPhone and you put a design in it, you can see by the device frame from when the project was first launched. And the project gets old really, really fast if you see a certain generation of iPhone connected to it. So what we did instead is we created these generic devices here, which are very simple Figma auto layouts with frames that are somewhat similar to devices that you might be familiar with. But we do have a little bit of liberty in changing color of the device frames. We can change the screen size, we can change the width. And all we do is we use this gray pane here to just insert an image or a screenshot of a design work to present our design work. But we also have it as an empty frame. So in case you want to use this here, for example, in a video or in a screencast as an overlay, you can do so. And we do have different device types, notebooks, desktops, browsers, that are fully editable Figma components and that help us to have our design presentation consistent. You can also get these devices actually. So we have made them public a couple months ago. I will link this somewhere in the description. There is a full vector device kit that you can use and that you can use for your own designs. We are having this for sale on my Figma community page for, I think, $9. So it's super cheap and you get over 440 device combinations that you can use for your own designs. Now, in regards of the device frames, we are mostly using these for case studies. So when we present design work, A, to clients, of course, but B, to the public in our case study. So what we did is we created the most typical case study images here to just copy from the Figma Master File. So we do have one with a tablet in it, one with phone, 2 phones, website details, and so on. So you get the idea. And when you create a new case study for a Figma project, you just go here, you pick the frames that you need, you put it to your own design file, and then you can adjust it. You can change the background color. You can change the contents of the device. This is all in here. And last but not least, we do have the Figma cover. So this is a thumbnail template that we are using for our client projects. At the moment, we are changing this a little bit. So our covers actually do look a bit different now, very similar to what you have here. but in the future, we will update this here in the Human Deluxe master file as well. So as you can see, the Human Deluxe master file, it's nowhere near to perfect. And it's not a design component system, but it's more like a Swiss Army knife of elements, of things that you can use that help you get faster when designing client projects, when designing in Figma, and something that came in very handy, something that I am using every day. I hope you enjoyed this video and that the information about the Human Deluxe Figma Master File was valuable for you, and maybe you can apply something for your own master file, for your own design systems. What kind of design system method, what tools, what token systems are you using for your own brand? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really excited to see all the tools, all the methods that you are using and that you are sharing. Of course, I'm very happy to extend this whole thing and maybe in the future do a new video, especially since I am recording this right before Figma Config 2024. So I do expect a lot of changes, a lot of new features coming to Figma that will help make this process even better, that will help make the Figma master file even cooler and more versatile. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye.